Hello, welcome back to the channel, and today we'll be talking about can Michigan football make the college football playoff in 2025-2026. And what I did here is I broke down five of the most important things that I thought that made Michigan very good in the last couple of seasons. Well, not very good, one of the best teams in college football the last couple of seasons, in addition to what it takes to make the playoffs. So thought we'd just start off with the what made Michigan super good. Number one, elite coordinators. I think that was one of the biggest changes in 2021. I know everyone will point to Stallions, but when you bring in a Mike McDonald followed by Jesse Minter, obviously that's an NFL head coach and an NFL head coach in waiting, basically. He'll probably be one next season, if not the year after. And then Sherman Moore, obviously, as an offensive coordinator, was very important as well. So, and he's now currently head coach. And then obviously Harbaugh got promoted. So it's elite coaching. And Wink Martindale obviously started very slow at Michigan, but towards the end of the season, you would have to say he's one of the more elite defensive coordinators in college football. I know it's probably not a crazy bar you have to reach in terms of Michigan with having the talent advantage you will against almost every opponent. But we still saw him get the most out of a pretty dire situation at times, secondary-wise, at least towards the end of the season and the middle to the end of the season. We're not going to talk about the beginning, but there's a big adjustment period from the NFL. And in terms of offense, you got Chip Lindsey. Obviously, he's had a lot of success pretty much everywhere he's gone. He's done things his personal way, a lot of balance, a lot of pistol looks, things like that. We'll break down the actual looks of it going forward. But he's a pretty elite coordinator. You obviously saw what he did with Drake May at UNC, with Jared Stidham at Auburn, with John Reese Plumlee at UCF, and any other stops I'm missing. But a lot of production from the quarterback position, a lot of quarterback running as well. And obviously Drake May talked glowingly about Chip Lindsey, saying it was very important, his development. So, another top five coordinator on the list there. So another top five quarterback under his belt there. So that's the first part there. Another big change starting with the 2021 season would be very elite quarterback play. I understand Gene McCarthy was a game manager, handoff merchant. I guess I should clarify very talented quarterback play, yet also very clutch quarterback play. We know Bryce definitely has the talented part down. He's physically gifted. He's already a better physically gifted quarterback than J.J. McCarthy will probably ever be, just based off of his frame and size and speed and strength alone. But will he have that clutch gene that J.J. had? Whenever you needed JJ to go out there and get it, he had that clutch gene. It's easy to say, easy, I guess, to almost refute. Will Bryce have like the same chip on his shoulder that JJ did? Like, you think of the story with JJ, and it's like he didn't wear eye black against Ohio State, so he could look Ryan Day in the face and be like, I'm good enough to do this. Like, obviously, that was a very important thing. So he did that. And that really obviously was like, okay, he gets the rivalry. He understands it all. Bryce was born into it, so it's different. But, JJ kind of that chip on his shoulder, but it's like, hey, you took this quarterback over me. You took Devin Brown and Kyle McCord over me, and JJ's like, I'm going to show you that you made a mistake. And he clearly did. I don't know if Bryce will have that same, chip as I was just mentioning. But what he doesn't have necessarily in that chip, he makes up with everything else. People already calling Bryce Underwood a handoff merchant. They're already calling him fat because a photo came out of him trying to put weight on to get bigger, to take more big hits in college, which is hilarious. He even addressed it in an interview, talking about, what does the internet think about you or something. He's like, what have you seen online? Bryce is like, I'm fat. So he's a good sport about it. You can see his athleticism in all the videos, his high school tape, videos of like the bus with the boys coming to visiting Michigan, and just little clips here and there. The guy's unreal. They even talked about how he threw offhanded 50 yards, which is crazy. I don't know if I could throw 50 yards offhanded. It'd probably be pretty tough. But clearly Bryce is a better athlete than me. So the clutch part is TBD, but obviously the talent part is there. Up next, I have a veteran presence. Obviously, Michigan benefited greatly from the COVID season and having significantly older players allowed in college football. Them and others had that. A couple 23, 24-year-olds like Mike Barrett seemingly was there forever. Mikey Sanistro was there in 2019, switched positions and was a captain of the defense. When you think about veteran presence, you got a guy like Rod Moore coming back now. You have like almost another coach in the field. He was obviously helping coaching last year. We kind of saw that towards the end of last season when he got a bit more healthy, relatively speaking, not healthy enough, clearly. But He was on the sideline and really coaching it through and doing his due diligence and helping everyone out. And then you've got Hausman and Barham, who've been a linebacking duo for obviously a full season now. But I mean, Hausman's been there for a long time. He's sneaky a veteran on this team. And then you look to the offensive side of the ball, you have a bit harder problem seeing that. You have some receivers that have been there for a while, but you look at a guy like Gio Ahadi, he's been there for a while. Crippen's done his thing for a little while. And again, that's kind of where it ends. Mikey Keene, a good veteran presence in the quarterback room. But again, I'm more thinking about Michigan guys long term. So you don't have nearly as much offensive, I don't even know the right word, offensive, I guess you could say OGs, for lack of a better term, on the team. Al-Hadi, again, is kind of the one you think of. Max Bredesen as well, a big vocal leader. But, how involved is he going to be with this new offense? I think he'll be pretty involved. But, for a tight end fullback, it's like how much more could he get involved? Obviously, he's incredibly important in the run game and helping the run schemes. And I'm sure he's been working with Chip to kind of be like, hey, this is what we do. What can we take from your game and mix it into ours? So, you have one or two super old elite guys on each side of the ball, which helps that transition. I would say it's a 50-50 on that one. The next one I have is a top 10 defense. I think Michigan could potentially find themselves there. I don't think they'll start that way. It's very hard to replace the 2 D tackles you had, but you do bring back both of your starting edges. Kind of. Depending on what you thought about with Josiah Stewart, they all rotated. So you have 2 starting caliber edges at least already there. You've got some very good transfer D tackles coming in, along with Rayshon Benny still there, which is good. Trey Pierce still there. In addition, obviously, to Trey Williams and Dan Pierce, like I was mentioning. And then you have, again, your super veteran linebackers. They're pretty solid. You got Zeke Berry. You've got Jair Hill, Rod Moore, Brendan Hillman. Those are like just quick starters I can think of. The nickel positions, we've figuring it out. You brought in the Metcalf brothers, obviously with some SEC experience there, and then you bring in a few other veteran transfers on the back end, which weren't really playing as much. But a lot of guys you bring back from last season, they kind of got some run as a younger player, so help them build on that from last year. They understand the communication a lot more of the Wink Martindale defense, you'd think. And they play like a top 10 defense at the end of last season. Obviously, again, use a ton of high-end talent, but you'd like to think you bring that in with some younger guys and some higher level recruits and guys stepping into the position finally after waiting a year or two behind some pretty elite defenses. So if you can get that, then we're really in business. And then the final piece is the elite ground game and clock control. So not only did Michigan have really good time of possession, they were able to just grind out long offensive drives, and they'd give their defense a ton of time they'd rest. The lazy answer would be Michigan had the plays, but I mean, I'm sure, I don't know what the stat is. I'm sure Michigan was one of the highest teams in terms of time possession, and how their defense would be always fresh and rested. And because Michigan didn't have a ton of explosive plays, but they just had long, sustained drives. And it seemed like every third and short, you'd have Blake Corum just go out there and get that first down. And do you have that now this year? You saw in the biggest games of the year that in the Rose Bowl and in the title game, and even sometimes the Ohio State game, JJ would not be afraid to pull it and run. Bryce will be able to do that for sure, significantly more in the Chip Lindsey system. It's very important that he gets in the run. And it opens up the run lanes for sure. And then you have, again, a deeper backfield this year than you do last year. Again, I don't know if they're necessarily going to be better than Khalil Mullings off the back. I thought Khalil was one of the better Michigan running backs last year we've seen in a long time. He just had a brutal O-line and stuff around him. But with hopefully a better offensive line and a more of a passing threat, and even your quarterback running, it'll open up more run lanes and lighter boxes that you can have, Justice Haynes and Jordan Marshall, the law firm, doing their thing, getting downfield and making, Michigan have long extended ground control drives in addition to passing the ball. I mean, that's the part where it gets tricky. Obviously, you want to pass the ball more than you have in years past, so you can attract some elite receiver talent, especially with some of the talent coming down the line in the state of Michigan, let alone the state of Michigan. You got just at Harper Woods High School, just down the road from me. So that was the 5 things there. And then when you look at what actually takes to get to the playoff, right? It's a 10-2 record or better. That's pretty much where you're at. If you're 10-2, you're in the playoff. 9-3 teams almost snuck in. I think it's going to be different in years going forward. I think 10-2 is the floor. of teams that will get in. And you look at Michigan's schedule, you've got a bunch of very, very, very winnable games. In games that are under a touchdown spread-wise, it boils down to 4 games. And you got to win 2 of those 4 games, assuming you take care of business in every other game. Easier said than done now. Michigan going into this, the last couple of years, like, oh, we're going to beat Indiana, oh, we're going to beat Washington, oh, we're going to beat all these teams. And obviously you didn't. Kind of beating it to a dead horse, but the 4 teams and the 4 big games that we're looking at are at Oklahoma, at Nebraska, at USC, and home against Ohio State. I don't want to say you pencil in Ohio State as a win and give myself open up to a brutal receipt here, but it's hard to say that you wouldn't in this case. I'm not a big fan of Nebraska either. I think those are 2 games that you should win. I almost expect you to. USC, we're going to learn a lot about them. Obviously, by the time the game happens, we'll see what happens there. I think we're a better team than Oklahoma as well. It's just earlier in the season, Bryce's first true road start as a brand new 18-year-old is going to be a whole debacle. Super young, on the road, it's going to be nuts. So if you can go out and win that game, then we're talking, maybe even Big Ten title talk. Let alone everything else. It's just kind of a good, barometer of where you're at in terms of the college football pecking order, that Oklahoma game. So if you can do that, would be insane. But I think Nebraska and USC should be wins for sure. And then obviously take your business into Ohio, and we're really in business here. So do I think Michigan will make the playoffs? Yes. I believe last someone sent it to me was plus 200 is what you can get Michigan make the playoffs at. So I think it'd be worth a little sprinkle there. Obviously, be responsible, but I do think Michigan makes the playoffs. I do think Michigan takes the over on 8.5 and 9.5 win totals, and I think you're a 10-2 ball club at worst. And just as far as Bryce will take you, and as far as that O-line will take you, I think the O-line's a bigger question than Bryce Underwood, which might be kind of a crazy thing to say. But with a lot of young talent, you've got Avery Gach, you've got Jake Arenda, you've got Ty Haywood, Andrew Babalola, Andrew Sprague, all of these guys, I think that they're going to be way better going forward, let alone what they are even right now. So this is probably the lowest you're going to see Michigan's O-line, hopefully for the foreseeable future, and they'll keep pushing and go forward. So thank you all for watching. I know tomorrow I'm going to try to figure out what the video is. I might try to do an emergency Hammer press conference coverage or whatever, because the college football world waits for the ending of the Connor Stallions never-ending situation. The punishment will be doled out about lunchtime tomorrow. I think 1 p.m. Eastern is the rumored time. So, we'll see what happens with that. That'll be very interesting. And stay tuned. So thank you all for watching as always. Really appreciate the support the last few days. And hopefully I'll help keep you guys entertained until the season starts. And then we'll kind of get into a different rhythm with that and bring the BCS podcast back, which should be coming up soon. Thank you guys all for watching. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.